Hi, everyone. So, for this week's lecture, I'll be talking about onboarding technology and gamification. I will talk about what onboarding entails, types of onboarding technology, the impact of technology on onboarding, and then we'll switch over and talk about gamification, what it is, and how it's currently being used in HR. So, onboarding technology. Onboarding is the process of integrating new hires into a new company. Onboarding programs can include a variety of things which will always be, which will vary based on the company and the type of program that HR has put together. But it can include things like presentations by different departments and or executives. I've been in onboarding presentations where the CEO would come in and do a short presentation or long presentation, and or IT would come in and help set up everybody's laptop at the same time. So onboarding programs are really going to be varied based on the company. It also includes completing new hire paperwork. Things such as the W-4 and I-9, which are required by all new employees, and additionally things like direct deposit forms, payroll forms, any type of benefits information or forms that might need to be filled out, are all part of the new hire paperwork, including, in addition, also confidentiality agreements, and a lot of times it will include the employee handbook acknowledgement. Onboarding programs can also include things like tours and setting new hires up with buddy programs. But again, it's always going to be varied and really based on whatever program HR has put together for the company. So, interesting fact, 25% is the percentage of new hires that quit before 1 year with the company. And a lot of that is actually attributed to having a poorly designed onboarding system or onboarding program. So, the importance of a good onboarding, it's really the intention is to make a new hire feel welcomed and engaged from the beginning, engaged not only with the company and the culture, but also with the job that they are performing. And most experts agree that good onboarding should have a 1 week, 3 month, and 1 year check in with the new hire to ensure that any of those all those milestones are being or have been met, and that the new hire is feeling engaged with all of the aspects. Again, the company, their job. And in addition to completing the administrative paperwork, onboarding should give new hires an introduction to the company culture, job expectations, and relevant information, such as how to complete an IT request form. So there's two main types of technology that we'll talk about. The integrated HRIS. So a lot of HRIS systems have integrated onboarding systems. However, some vendors only offer onboarding at a separate cost to the HRIS. Small to medium-sized HRIS systems such as namely Bamboo HR and Zenefits all include a onboarding module for free. But companies such as ADP and Workday have onboarding modules, but it is considered an extra cost, and so you have to actually pay extra to have the onboarding module included with your HRIS system. And so this is a screenshot of what Bamboo HR's onboarding module looks like. So the process begins when a new hire receives an email from the Bamboo HR, the system, asking them to fill out their personal information, social security number, date of birth, and any personal email or telephone numbers. But it also includes things that that would typically be handled in person or on paper, which the system allows you to create digital forms for the I-9, the W-4, confidentiality agreements. It can also include things like IT setups, including desk locations, setting up again laptops request, and electronically filling out any additional information such as benefit forms. So this is all set up on by the administrator, the HRIS administrator, and happens is once the new hire has completed their information, their personal information, they'll get this checklist of things to complete, and each blue item is actually a link to the form or to information that the new hire can go through. at their own pace and at their own accord. Sometimes, you can set up a date requirement in terms of how soon or when it needs to be completed. The second type of technology is our standalone applications, which have become much more popular over the last few years because they offer more in-depth onboarding processes that, than other HRIS systems can actually provide. And these standalone applications will be discussed more in depth in the articles that you'll be reading for this week's topics. But standalone applications can provide things like welcome videos, mobile access not only to the HRIS but to the digital forms, and mobile access to tours or even videos. AI integration. AI allows onboarding technology to personalize the system, personalize the onboarding or orientation based on the employee's job. So you can have a certain task set up for someone who's coming into the company as an administrative assistant versus someone who's coming in as a sales employee. They can also include things like virtual reality facility tours, giving the employee or new hire an opportunity to see where everything is prior to their start date. And of course, digital forms are also a very important aspect of all onboarding technology, but standalone as well, because it takes away the process of HR having to meet with and having and new hires having to sign and fill out manually all of these forms that are required to start at any company. It allows them to do it all electronically. So with all things involving technology, as I will talk about throughout the class, and I've mentioned before, is that there's always a drawback or a downside to it. And so the downside with having all of this great technology for onboarding is that we really have to balance it with the human touch. Studies have shown that even though technology is great in terms of helping employees feel more engaged and um, more productive and getting them up and running, working at a new working at a new company. We also need to balance that with the a need for human interaction and human contact prior to or during the onboarding process. So having a technology only approach to onboarding can make new hires feel unwelcome and inconsequential. You definitely want to make sure that whatever new hire program you put together includes some specific, obviously with the manager, but also some interaction with either other coworkers, a buddy um, from the new hires department, or HR. And HR needs to find a way to use technology to create a personable approach to onboarding, in addition to, again, balancing it with the human interaction. So let's talk about gamification. Gamification is the integration of game strategy and software applications to offer users a more enriching experience. Game strategy includes techniques such as earning points and rewards for completing activities, earning badges or ranking for achieving goals, or leveling up for learning new skills. So the reality is we're all familiar with gamification and game strategy when it comes to technology. But what's really interesting is that more and more HR applications actually use gamification now. Wellness programs, or recruiting applications, learning and development, performance management, reward and recognition, and even team project management use game strategy in a lot of the applications now. So why why is it being used in HR? Game strategy can encourage employees to complete learning modules. So employees can get rewards or points for learning new skills. It can also reward employees for participating in wellness programs by walking a certain number of steps each day, or doing a assessment evaluation, or even getting checkups. Can be part of the reward system, or employees can be rewarded for doing those activities in wellness programs. It can also make onboarding application more engaging for new hires. I've seen applications that use things like scavenger hunts to engage the new hire and help them get acclimated to a new company. And that uh, process is actually a game strategy, because as the new hire goes through and finds each new thing, they might get a reward or a badge or something. And it can also make the application process more interesting to candidates. Companies and hotels, especially such as Marriott, are using game strategy in their application process to help candidates navigate the different aspects and different areas of applying for jobs, while also allowing them to show what skills they already know and how they're qualified for the different jobs. And it can reward employees for achieving performance goals. And so let's talk about the drawbacks of gamification. Meaningless reward systems can discourage employee participation. So, if reward systems or point systems are drawn out or they take too long to achieve, then they can actually become redundant and really demotivating for employees. Overuse of gaming strategy can be overwhelming to employees. If every application currently being used by HR that employees use, if it's in the learning system and performance management system and um, project management system, it can be overwhelming and again becomes less of a motivator. Gamification can also make employees overly competitive instead of cooperative. So for applications that use gamification or game strategy to encourage teams to collaborate, if the system or if the strategy is set up so that individual team members are competing against one another, it can again defeat the purpose because it makes them overly competitive against each other. And basically, poorly executed gaming strategy in any application can make the entire program ineffective. So it's really important to understand how the game strategy or how gaming strategy is being used in any application chosen by the company. So conclusion, there's no question that as technology continues to advance, we'll see more interactive onboarding applications. There is a onboarding application that we will look at later in later weeks that is actually a virtual reality onboarding program that's very interesting. And we'll also, take a look at how it's really evolved from just again being a process of HR meeting, sitting down with new hires and having them filling out forms to becoming more technology or technically advanced. And again, onboarding technology can be beneficial, but it still needs to be balanced with the human factor, the human touch, human interaction. Gamification can be a powerful motivator when used correctly, but it can also be a distraction if the application is poorly designed or if the gamification is overused in various applications. So this is a really a quick introduction to both onboarding technology and gamification. You have 4 articles to read that are listed in the checklist for this week that go in more in depth into onboarding technology and gamification. So thank you.